standing here with my friend, the governor, on October 15th. And what are we talking about? We're not talking about the first meeting we had back in February. The conversation is not whether there'll be recovery, but what shape the recovery is going to take. We're no longer talking about what was talked about when we took office. When Barack and I entered office, it was in the midst of what I call the Great Recession. People thought I was engaging in hyperbole in some of the press. Now everybody calls it that. The reason I called it the Great Recession, it was the worst recession since the Great Depression, just short of a depression. Other than the Depression in the 30s, no economic growth has been as consequential and gone to the heart of what America is about than this recession. Back in January, major economists were talking about the possibility of a depression. Major banks, the largest banks in the world and the country, were on the verge of collapse. On the verge of not whether or not they could reorganize, but literally shuttering their doors, which would have dragged us into a depression and an international depression. We were losing jobs when we took office. The first month we took office, January 20th, we were sworn in. The announcement that month was 740,000 jobs lost just that month. Over 650, if I'm not mistaken, in January, before we even got our computers hooked up in the offices. Ladies and gentlemen, the GDP, fancy term we know, the gross domestic product, measure of all the growth in the country, was falling at a yearly rate of 6%. That translated into hundreds of billions of dollars, literally evaporating from our economy as this Great Recession took over. American workers were seeing their savings decimated in the stock market, their 401ks, and the real estate market, as the stock market and real estate market plummeted by over $12 trillion, say it again, $12 trillion between 2007 and when we first took office. Ladies and gentlemen, but by the second quarter of this year, our having been in office only 5 months, household wealth finally started to stabilize, rising by about $2 trillion. As real estate values stabilized and financial markets began to slowly recover from their collapse during that credit crisis in October, November, December, January. Let's look at where we are now. Middle-class savings and 401ks got clobbered in the stock market when the stock market fell by 50% during the Great Recession. Not only the big fat cats got hurt, but all of you working jobs that have 401ks, all those seniors that have the retirement funds invested, all those seniors, the people approaching their senior years, counting on the equity in their home to be part of their retirement. But that bottomed out in early March. And since then, the typical 401k, for example, with the stock market up around 10,000, over 10,000 yesterday, they've regained back 35% of their lost wealth. Not enough. But I stood here in January and said, as Vice President, I have an idea. I can pass a law that will restore 35% of the lost value of your 401ks. You would have suggested I was a hero, I expect. Ladies and gentlemen,